What if the reality you experience is merely a sliver of a much grander existence? Join me as we venture into the concept of a 10th dimension, a plane of the universe so profoundly different from our own that it could redefine everything we understand about space and time. Guided by the insights of Michio Kaku, you should prepare for an expedition to the very edge of where science meets the unimaginable. To help you visualize this concept, let's use the simple analogy of a fish living in a pond. Picture this creature moving contentedly through its environment, a world it perceives as fundamentally flat, restricted to the water's surface and the shallow bottom. The fish has absolutely no awareness of the immense cosmos that exists beyond the pond's edge, a universe filled with marvels it could never fathom. A reality of jumping or flying is inconceivable, just as the sky and its inhabitants are beyond its comprehension, because its entire world is defined by what it can immediately perceive. Doesn't it seem that, in many ways, we are just like that fish? We exist in a universe where our perception is fundamentally constrained by the limits of our senses, and our comprehension of space and time is dictated by our own biology and surroundings. This prompts the question of what truly lies beyond our familiar 3 dimensions, and whether there are entire realities that we simply cannot sense. It is a truly captivating idea to consider. The very notion that hidden dimensions might exist, just as tangible as our own, unlocks a realm of infinite possibilities. It is this innate curiosity about the unknown that has always propelled humanity to question and explore the cosmos. Throughout our history, the greatest thinkers, from philosophers to physicists, have endeavored to decipher the mysteries of reality, all striving to glimpse what lies beyond the veil of our perception. And although our progress has been extraordinary, an immense amount still remains a complete mystery. Take a moment to imagine a universe where space and time do not operate according to the rules you know. What would such a reality feel like? And how might it alter the very fabric of our lives? These are the kinds of questions that power our collective search for knowledge, with curiosity acting as the guiding light that pulls us toward the unknown. Have you ever stopped to consider if time truly flows in a straight line, or if it might instead be an experience with multiple dimensions of its own? As we journey further into this topic, we will examine some incredible theories that fundamentally challenge our current worldview. Several of these concepts propose that our universe contains far more dimensions than we can perceive, and that these unseen dimensions coexist with us and actively shape our reality. While the idea of additional dimensions might initially seem intimidating, I encourage you to keep an open mind and allow these possibilities to awaken your imagination, as each one could hold the answers to questions we have yet to even formulate. Consider the possibility that every choice you make could cause reality to branch off, creating a cascade of parallel universes. It is this deep-seated curiosity about the unknown that forces us to interrogate the very essence of our being. What does it even mean to be a conscious entity within a cosmos of infinite dimensions? This profound search for answers is what drives us to keep pushing our boundaries, to learn more, and to envision what seems impossible. Therefore, as we navigate this great expanse of potential realities, it's vital to remember that every question you have is a doorway to a deeper understanding of the world. I urge you to listen closely, because the ideas we are about to uncover could permanently alter how you see everything. Our adventure is only just starting, and the discoveries that lie ahead could be more astounding than anything we can presently conceive. Exploring these hidden dimensions is far more than an intellectual pursuit. It is a profound opportunity to reflect on your own existence and your place within this immense and complex universe. This journey is an invitation to scrutinize your perceptions, confront your deepest beliefs, and open your mind to entirely new realities. Are you prepared to press forward and discover what exists beyond our limited view? With each new revelation we encounter, we move closer to grasping what it truly means to exist in this intricate, multifaceted cosmos. Our curiosity serves as our compass, while the deep-seated desire to understand provides our motivation. Through every question asked and every answer found, we inch closer to unlocking the secrets of the dimensions that envelop us. The path ahead is unwritten. The journey has just begun, and the possibilities are truly without end. Imagine that fish once more, swimming peacefully in its pond. To this creature, the world is an essentially two-dimensional plane, defined entirely by the surface above and the floor below. Every event it has ever known has occurred within these boundaries. But what might happen if it could suddenly glance upward and perceive something beyond the water? Could its mind even begin to process a three-dimensional reality? A world defined not just by depth, but by height and width as well. The story of the fish in the pond serves as a powerful metaphor for our own condition. We inhabit a world that we perceive through three spatial dimensions, and we often assume that this is the full extent of reality. However, much like the fish, we could be confined by our own limited perception. What would happen if we truly opened our minds to the possibility of dimensions we've never even considered? If the fish could see beyond its immediate surroundings, it might realize its pond is but a tiny part of a vast ocean, rich with life and full of mysteries. The fish's constrained reality compels us to examine our own limitations. Just as the fish can only see what is directly in its pond, we as humans tend to cling to our three-dimensional perspective, which can hinder our exploration of the unknown. The analogy raises a critical question. Are we, like the fish, living in a world defined by the limits of our own senses? Perhaps the cosmic answers we search for among the stars are actually hidden in dimensions right beside us, perpetually unseen, suggesting the reality we know is just a fraction of a far more complex and magnificent whole. The existence of a fish in a pond is both predictable and constrained. It navigates from one side to the other, subsisting on what its immediate world provides, all within a familiar daily cycle. But what if a sudden ray of light pierced the water's surface, casting shadows and revealing forms the fish had never conceived of? This single moment could mark a profound shift, its first true step toward comprehending a far more expansive reality. In much the same way, our own revelations can arrive as new ideas, scientific breakthroughs, or transformative experiences that compel you to question the very foundations of your knowledge. Scientists have long grappled with concepts that defy our conventional understanding of the universe. What if, like that fish encountering light, you too could begin to perceive the mysteries of hidden dimensions that might be all around us? This drive to understand is fueled by curiosity, a powerful engine that has propelled humanity's greatest achievements in science and philosophy. Whenever you dare to question what you accept as fact, you unlock the potential for entirely new ways of seeing the world. Imagine that fish meeting another who had ventured beyond the pond into the vast world outside. This traveler could share tales of immense oceans, powerful currents, and creatures beyond the first fish's wildest dreams, completely reshaping its worldview. Likewise, when you confront new and difficult ideas, your own perspective broadens, allowing you to contemplate realities that once seemed utterly impossible. But is it necessary to physically leave your own pond to find these new dimensions? Perhaps the key, for us as for the fish, is to simply learn how to see beyond our immediate surroundings. True exploration is not always a physical journey. it is often a voyage of the mind, where science, philosophy, and creativity become the vessels for plumbing the depths of knowledge. This raises a critical question. Are you truly prepared to challenge what you consider to be reality? The parable of the fish serves as a potent reminder that existence may be infinitely richer and more complex than your senses suggest. Mysteries are waiting to be uncovered in every part of our world. If you can embrace the spirit of that curious fish, you might just find the courage needed to explore the unknown and open your mind to what lies beyond. Scientists have put forward theories about dimensions that exist beyond the scope of our perception, realms that could completely redefine our understanding of reality. Picture the fish leaving its pond and discovering that water is not the only element. How would it cope with this new environment? Just as the fish would need to adapt, you too must be open to the possibility that the universe is a vastly more surprising and intricate place than you imagine. To grasp this concept, you must first try to envision a world that is entirely flat, where beings are limited to moving forward, backward, left, or right. This is the puzzle presented by hidden dimensions. Can you conceive of the life of a fish on the surface of a pond? It exists within a two-dimensional world, its comprehension of reality confined to that flat plane, making its entire experience fundamentally different from your own. Within this flat existence, the fish remains oblivious to anything that lies above it. If a bird were to fly over the pond, the fish would be utterly incapable of comprehending this creature, as it moves through a third dimension that simply does not exist in the fish's reality. In this same manner, we too are confined to the dimensions we can perceive, which begs the question of what might exist just beyond our senses, in a realm that is both exhilarating and bewildering to consider. Scientists now theorize that hidden dimensions could be just as real as the three we inhabit, existing all around us, even though we are completely unable to detect them. Imagine a reality where gravity behaves in ways that seem impossible, simply because it is being influenced by physical laws operating in dimensions you cannot access. To visualize this limitation, consider a cube. For a being in a two-dimensional world, this object would appear only as a square that mysteriously changes its shape. Living in 3 dimensions, however, you can perceive the cube in its entirety. Now, try to imagine a being that can perceive 4 or even 5 dimensions. What would a simple cube look like from their perspective? And what other things might they see that remain completely invisible to you? String theory, for instance, proposes that our universe is composed of minuscule vibrating strings in a space of 10 dimensions, suggesting the reality we experience is merely a fraction of a much larger, interconnected cosmos. The idea of hidden dimensions is also deeply connected to the strange world of quantum mechanics. At the quantum level, an electron can exist in multiple states at the very same time. This could be evidence that these different states coexist in separate dimensions, and our limited perception only allows us to see one at a time. This leads to a startling thought. What if every decision you make is simply a choice between multiple realities that exist simultaneously in these hidden dimensions? Exploring such possibilities would completely transform our understanding of existence itself. If these extra dimensions are real, then our perception of time and space may be nothing more than an elaborate illusion created by our limited senses. Perhaps time, as you experience it, is just one single line on a vast horizon of potential pathways. In this view, reality becomes a complex tapestry, where every thread represents a different decision, a unique path, and an alternate life, forcing you to question what it truly means to experience time at all. Consider the possibility that in a higher dimension, the past, present, and future all unfold simultaneously, and our perception is simply too limited to grasp it. While this notion might seem overwhelming, it is also profoundly exciting. Among the most compelling ideas is that of a fifth-dimensional being, whose awareness of time would allow it to perceive every single moment as a unified whole, not as a linear sequence. How might this alter the way you live? If you could instantly see every choice alongside all its potential outcomes, your decisions would likely be made in a completely different way. Advancing into the sixth dimension, you can picture a vast decision tree, where every action you take causes your reality to branch off, forging new pathways of possibility. This framework helps you envision your life as a series of routes, with each choice guiding you to a unique destination. But what if you could actually traverse all of these branches? The concept that every decision spawns a new reality can be both incredibly liberating and immensely daunting. The seventh dimension expands on this even more, presenting a state where every conceivable version of the universe already coexists, meaning each choice you make not only shapes your life, but also births an entirely new cosmos. Have you ever found yourself wondering how your life might have turned out if you had chosen differently in the past? In the seventh dimension, those alternate lives are not mere daydreams, but concrete realities that exist in parallel. Finally, an exploration of the eighth dimension introduces us to the concept of an infinite library, containing all possible beginnings for a universe, each with its own distinct laws and potential. Imagine having access to this collection, with the ability to select which reality you wish to experience. The sheer number of unwritten stories waiting to be explored is a truly captivating thought. As you contemplate these hidden dimensions, the fundamental questions about our existence and its purpose only grow deeper. Is there some overarching consciousness connecting all these planes of reality? Or are you just a spectator in an immeasurably complex universe? The quest for these answers compels you to reflect on your own being and the specific role you play in the cosmos. Ultimately, delving into these hidden dimensions serves as an invitation to broaden your mind and challenge everything you assume to be true, bringing you closer to understanding the true depth of reality. The notion of spacetime might sound like a purely abstract idea, yet it is fundamental to understanding the mechanics of our universe. What if I were to tell you that time isn't just a straight line progressing from what was to what will be? Instead, picture time as a vast ocean. While you may only see the surface, countless layers of coexisting moments lie beneath, hidden from your view. This structure means that every instant is part of a larger, interconnected whole, even if we can't perceive it directly. To grasp this better, consider a train traveling on its tracks. From the station platform, you observe its position at one specific instant. However, if you are a passenger on board, you experience the entire journey as a continuous whole. Space-time functions similarly, representing a voyage that incorporates not only physical distance, but also the flow of time itself. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, space and time are woven together into a single fabric that can be bent and warped by mass. A massive body like a planet can distort this fabric, altering the motion of other objects and even the perception of time. For instance, take a pair of twins born at the same moment. If one embarks on a journey at nearly the speed of light while the other remains on Earth, the traveling twin will have aged less upon their return. This effect, known as time dilation, demonstrates that the passage of time varies depending on relative motion, and is not a universal constant. Within this space-time framework, each of us is navigating through dimensions that are not always linear and can be shaped by forces beyond our control. As you explore the idea of space-time more deeply, a fascinating question emerges. Could time possess extra dimensions that we are not yet equipped to understand? Imagine every moment as a single point within an enormous network, where each choice and event sprouts new, branching pathways. In this model, time transforms into an intricate and rich tapestry woven from countless possibilities that intersect and diverge. Time in this web would not be a simple, continuous stream, but rather a collection of moments that could potentially be accessed in various ways. What if you could perceive all of these moments simultaneously? The capacity to observe not only the past, but all potential futures would unlock a spectrum of opportunities previously beyond imagination. This is where our creativity becomes an essential tool for investigating what could be. And consider this. Our perception of time can shift based on our emotions and experiences. When you're having a wonderful time, the hours seem to fly by. But during moments of boredom, each second can feel like an eternity. This suggests our sense of time is subjective and can be reshaped by our circumstances, leaving one to wonder just how many dimensions of time might exist within our own consciousness. Minkowski's theory, a speculative framework examining the nature of time, encourages us to see how our human experience is frequently constrained by our three-dimensional perception. Each of us navigates through space and time, but what if there were methods to move between different layers of time? While this may sound like a plot from a science fiction story, a growing number of scientists are seriously investigating these ideas. Picture time not as a one-way street, but as a vast landscape that you could traverse, revisiting old paths or exploring new ones. This concept leads us to question whether time as we know it is just one manifestation of something far more elaborate, a vast, explorable domain whose meaning changes depending on your point of view. When you consider time as woven into a grander cosmic fabric, it naturally raises questions about its link to gravity and the universe's other fundamental forces. It's conceivable that gravity's influence isn't confined to three dimensions, but extends into hidden ones, a prospect that unveils an exhilarating new frontier for exploration. This leads us to wonder if gravity could be the very element that ties together the different dimensions of space and time. In our effort to comprehend space-time, we are met with a captivating paradox. Is time a continuous current that carries us along, or is it simply a trick of human perception? This is a topic of ongoing scientific debate, with some theories even postulating a form of quantum time, where the known physical laws do not hold true. This, in turn, makes the question of how you and I interact with the fabric of space-time all the more fascinating. If time is a dimension that can be influenced, could humanity ever learn to traverse it as we do physical distances? Imagining a future where this becomes a reality might seem like pure fantasy, yet modern physics beckons us to consider that what seems impossible may be more attainable than we realize. Consequently, a speculative model like Minkowski's theory serves not only as a tool for understanding space and time, but also as a portal to understanding our own place within it all. What is the true significance of living in a cosmos where time is not a straight line, but rather an expansive and intricate network of possibilities? Investigating these concealed dimensions offers us a glimpse into the authentic nature of the reality that envelops us. Every step forward in this quest raises new inquiries, and each answer unlocks a world of greater potential. Ultimately, the exploration of space-time is a journey toward understanding ourselves and the universe we call home. Our relentless questioning is what defines us. String theory can be pictured as a vast ocean of potential, where each ripple is a vibration of energy that molds the very essence of the universe.
Have you ever paused to think what it would mean if everything you know, from the stars overhead to the very atoms in your body, was formed from something as basic as vibrating strings? This concept might seem unusual initially, but by exploring it, we can unlock a new depth of understanding about our reality.
According to this theory, the subatomic particles that serve as the building blocks of all matter are not featureless points, but rather infinitesimally small vibrating filaments of energy. To understand this, imagine the universe as a colossal musical stage. On this stage, the specific frequency of each string's vibration determines the kind of particle it becomes. A string vibrating one way might form an electron, while another, vibrating differently, could manifest as a quark, composing a complex cosmic symphony. Furthermore, string theory suggests that reality is not limited to the 3 dimensions we can perceive. Scientists propose that the universe may encompass as many as 10 dimensions. Picture the familiar axes of movement, forward and backward, side to side, up and down, and then add more directions of motion that we cannot see or feel. These extra dimensions could serve as hidden conduits, potentially explaining enigmatic phenomena like gravity or the nature of dark matter. This immediately brings up a compelling question. If these hidden dimensions exist, why don't we perceive them? A prevailing explanation is that they are curled up on a scale so minuscule they are effectively invisible to us. Beyond this puzzle, string theory also takes on the monumental challenge of unifying the forces of nature, aiming to show how forces like gravity and electromagnetism, which appear separate, are actually just different notes in the same grand cosmic score. This unification would mean that all physical phenomena you observe, from a simple falling apple to the distant light of a star, are merely expressions of these string vibrations in higher dimensions. However, string theory is not without its critics. While it offers a theoretically beautiful explanation of the universe, some scientists point out its current lack of verifiable experimental evidence. How can we prove the existence of something in dimensions we cannot even observe? The search for this proof drives us toward massive particle accelerators, such as the Large Hadron Collider, or LHC, which is the largest and most powerful of its kind in the world. There, scientists strive to replicate the conditions of the early universe in the hope of detecting direct evidence of these vibrating strings. Contemplating these ideas inevitably leads us into the realm of philosophy, prompting questions about what it means for matter and even consciousness to be made of vibrating energy. If everything is indeed composed of these fundamental strings, then perhaps consciousness itself is an incredibly complex manifestation of their vibrations. This idea makes the interconnectedness of all things even more profound, suggesting that our very thoughts and actions could create ripples across the entire fabric of the universe. The notion that our reality is a vast, resonant field of vibrating strings opens up an infinite landscape of possibilities. Consider a cosmos in which every choice you make doesn't just define your own life, but also sends ripples through the very fabric of existence. What if each decision gives rise to entirely new realities within dimensions we have yet to even conceive of? As we immerse ourselves in string theory, it's becoming evident that we are merely at the edge of a profound new level of understanding, where our curiosity may eventually reveal the universe's most guarded secrets. The invitation to keep questioning and exploring is essentially a call to adventure, one that allows each of us to become a navigator in this vast ocean of strings and dimensions. So, while you consider these concepts, it's worth noting that string theory is but one of many frameworks we use to grasp the sheer complexity of reality. Each new question opens a path for further research, and every fresh discovery draws us incrementally closer to solving the great cosmic mysteries.
Gravity stands as one of the most enigmatic forces in the cosmos. But what if I were to tell you there is far more to its character than what we perceive? Think of gravity as the stage scenery in a grand play. It feels constant and omnipresent, yet it conceals layers of complexity hidden from our view. The real intrigue lies in what exists behind that scenery, and how gravity might be intertwined with dimensions we cannot yet explore.
The question of gravity's mechanics has captivated scientists for centuries, as we typically perceive it as the simple force that anchors us to the ground. A more detailed examination, however, reveals that this force might function in ways we've never before considered. For instance, what if gravity's influence isn't confined to our three-dimensional world, but actually extends into unseen dimensions, much like water flowing through the hidden inner channels of a garden hose? Another compelling question is why our perception of gravity's strength seems to fluctuate. Picture yourself on a roller coaster at an amusement park. At the very top, you feel its immense pull, but during the rapid descent, that same force appears to momentarily vanish. This sensation could offer a valuable clue about how gravity interacts with other dimensions, perhaps giving us a fleeting glimpse into alternate realities during those brief moments. The relationship between gravity and the other fundamental forces is another area of fascinating speculation. What if gravity is simply the visible expression of a much larger, more fundamental principle? Some theories in physics propose that all elemental forces are woven together in the cosmic fabric, like individual threads in an immense tapestry where gravity is but a single strand, potentially connected to dimensions we don't yet comprehend. This concept of gravity linking to additional dimensions provides a fresh perspective on the universe, allowing us to envision these dimensions as concentric layers of an onion. If each layer represents a distinct reality, gravity could be the fundamental force that holds them all together. This raises the question of our perception. Are we perhaps confined to a single layer, unable to see the immense structure that lies just beyond our senses? It's also fascinating to examine how gravity operates at vastly different scales. In our daily lives, we experience it as a constant and predictable force. Yet when we look at colossal objects like stars and black holes, gravity appears to warp the very fabric of space and time. Could this distortion be evidence of those concealed dimensions, with a black hole acting as a sort of window into another plane of existence? Some theories even propose that what we experience as gravity is merely a projection of interactions occurring in higher dimensions. Imagine you are watching a three-dimensional movie, unaware that it's just a simplified representation of a far more intricate story unfolding in a five-dimensional universe. This makes you wonder how much of the true cosmic narrative we are actually capable of understanding. Quantum mechanics introduces yet another critical layer to this discussion, as particles in the quantum realm exhibit behaviors that seem to defy conventional logic. These strange actions could be hints of gravity's connection with dimensions beyond our immediate perception. Perhaps gravity and quantum mechanics are simply two aspects of the same phenomenon, united within a framework of hidden dimensions that we are only just beginning to imagine. As we continue to investigate these ideas, it's crucial that we maintain an open mind, since science is in a constant state of evolution. Today's greatest mysteries may very well become the keys to unlocking a new cosmic paradigm tomorrow. So let us persist in our exploration and marvel at the intricate reality that envelops us, because the universe surely holds many more secrets. Which leads to another thought. Have you ever truly considered your own perception of time? We typically perceive time as a linear progression, a direct journey from what has been to what will be. But I want you to consider a more intricate reality. Imagine time not as a single path, but as a flowing river, with countless currents that branch off and sometimes merge again. What would it mean to exist in a world where these temporal streams intertwine, suggesting that time itself possesses more than a single dimension? This concept of multidimensional time implies that just as we navigate 3 dimensions of space, we could also perceive time in ways currently beyond our imagination. You might be able to witness moments from your past and future simultaneously, as if holding a vast collection of experiences where every volume details a different temporal outcome. Imagine having the power to select which of those books you could open and explore. Think about those pivotal moments in your life, when you're faced with a significant choice, where a single decision can alter your entire future. In a multidimensional framework, that one instant could give rise to numerous realities, each stemming from a different path you took. Time would cease to be a simple forward march and instead become an expansive landscape where every decision guides you along a unique trajectory, like branches growing from the trunk of a great tree. Now, what if you could not only walk these paths, but also observe them from a distance? Instead of simply being a character in your own story, you could become a spectator, witnessing the multiple versions of your life unfold. A being with this ability would see time as a complete whole, where the past, present, and future are just different facets of one singular moment, all woven into a magnificent tapestry. From this perspective, emotions and memories would no longer be locked away in specific time frames, but would remain accessible at any point. Wouldn't it be extraordinary to instantly relive your most cherished moments or draw lessons from past errors? This idea transforms existence into something like a grand board game, where every choice you make unfolds a new game board entirely. Each roll of the dice and every move you make could propel you toward a completely different resolution. Our own consciousness is central to how we perceive the passage of time. If time truly is multidimensional, could our minds evolve to grasp its complexity on a deeper level? While most of us are conditioned to live in the immediate present, perhaps we could train our awareness to navigate these temporal dimensions, allowing us to better comprehend our decisions and live with greater mindfulness. This concept also deepens our connections with others. Imagine seeing your loved ones not just as they are now, but across all the moments you've ever shared. Relationships could become richer and more profound, transforming time from a simple measurement into a powerful bond that unites us. However, this power to see time multidimensionally would also carry a heavy weight of responsibility. How would you conduct your life, knowing that every choice could ripple through realities you can't even conceive of? The understanding that each action produces a cascade of consequences would surely compel us to be more deliberate in our daily lives. Ultimately, meditating on multidimensional time is an invitation to reconsider the very nature of our existence, challenging us to see reality as something far more layered and complex than it appears. Let's re-examine this from another angle. For a being existing in a fourth dimension, time would not be perceived as a sequence of events. Consider a movie. We watch the story unfold from start to finish, but the entire film already exists on a storage device. For this higher dimensional being, every piece of your life would be like that disk, where all moments, past, present, and future, coexist simultaneously. This being could see your past and future with the same clarity you possess when looking at your present surroundings. If you were in its position, how would that knowledge influence your choices? Every decision you make could be seen as a fork in the road, and this observer would see all possible routes at once, laid out like an enormous, detailed map. Would you still follow your plans, knowing every potential outcome is already accounted for? I want you to think about the nature of your own memories. It's a curious phenomenon how you can recall moments from your past and feel as if you are truly reliving them. For a fourth-dimensional consciousness, these recollections wouldn't be mere mental images, but tangible experiences, destinations that could be visited at any moment. Imagine what your life would be if you could journey back to those instances of joy or sorrow, as though traveling through a corridor of time. This idea introduces some compelling questions about the nature of existence. If time flows in a straight line, does this imply that the future is malleable? Could a being in the fourth dimension, who perceives all of time simultaneously, actually manipulate events in what we call the past or future? Consider the immense power of being able to revise a pivotal moment in your own life. What different choices might you make, and which new paths would you explore? However, this perspective on time also presents a more troubling aspect. Imagine being able to see every potential future branching from your decisions. Wouldn't such knowledge be completely overwhelming? The stress of making a choice could grow to an unbearable degree, and the very freedom to decide could feel more like a curse. You might find yourself paralyzed by indecision, trapped between an infinite number of possibilities, instead of being liberated by them. From a fourth-dimensional viewpoint, the idea of time as a finite resource would simply cease to exist, eliminating all sense of urgency and deadlines. Each moment would stretch into an opportunity for endless exploration, an invitation to experience life free from temporal pressure. But would this rob our lives of meaning? It is often the transient quality of our experiences that makes them so precious. If every moment were eternally accessible, we might lose our to truly appreciate the present. This reimagining of time has profound consequences for how we understand our world. In our day-to-day existence, time serves as the linear thread connecting our experiences. But what if that thread transformed into an intricate web, a vast network of interconnected moments where each choice alters not only your future, but your past as well? This would fundamentally change how you perceive history and the narrative of your own life. Let's examine the principle of cause and effect, which dictates that in our three-dimensional reality, every action produces a reaction. What if, within the fourth dimension, this relationship grew far more intricate, with decisions rippling backward to influence the past, just as they shape the present and future? In such a world, learning from your mistakes might involve not just remembering them, but possessing the power to actually correct them. For a being in the fourth dimension, the ability to navigate through time as effortlessly as a fish swims through water would provide an entirely new outlook on life itself. All experiences, whether joyful or painful, could be observed from a detached perspective. Would this lead you to become a wiser, more empathetic individual? Or would you be inclined to repeat the same errors, knowing you always had the option to rewind? Finally, it's essential to consider how this temporal framework would reshape our personal relationships. If you could witness every moment shared with your loved ones at any time, what would happen to the significance of memories? While emotional bonds might become more profound, they could also become suffocating. The very concepts of loss and farewell would acquire a new meaning if you could revisit those moments whenever you wished. This concept of multidimensional time urges us to challenge our assumptions about existence, compelling us to explore the complexity of our choices and to envision a world where time is an ally rather than an adversary. As we venture into this vast sea of possibilities, it's important to remember that curiosity is the first step toward comprehending our reality. What other secrets might be waiting in dimensions where time flows in unfamiliar ways? Now, let's picture a being that exists in the fifth dimension, whose perception of time is completely unlike our own. While we experience time as a linear progression, with a past behind us and a future ahead, this being would see all of time as a single, coexisting whole. What does that truly signify? And what would it feel like to live in a reality where time doesn't unfold sequentially? If you think about your daily life, each choice you make feels like another step forward on a linear path. For a fifth-dimensional being, however, these steps are not a simple forward movement. Instead, every single decision you make splinters off into countless possibilities, all existing at once. Can you fathom being able to simultaneously observe every choice you could make and see all of their resulting outcomes? This idea of time branching into infinite parallel streams is truly captivating. Have you ever considered how one minor decision could completely alter the trajectory of your life? For instance, perhaps you chose a different route to work one morning. In our reality, that's a minor deviation. But for a fifth-dimensional consciousness, that small detour spawns an entirely new timeline, a separate story that runs parallel to the one you currently inhabit. Now, suppose this being could do more than just observe these alternate versions of itself. What if it could actively interact with them? Within the fifth dimension, this entity isn't merely a spectator, but can influence the flow of events, making choices that echo across every branching reality. How would such an ability redefine our understanding of personal accountability and the very concept of free will? When contemplating a multidimensional being, it is crucial to think about how it would perceive the present moment. While we are rooted in the now and often feel anxious about what's to come, this entity could experience the past, present, and future all at the same time. Anxiety about the future might dissolve entirely, since every outcome already exists in some form. This perspective also transforms the nature of memory. For us, memory is a linear retrieval of past events that can fade or shift over time. But in the fifth dimension, memory might not be a limited archive at all, but rather a constant and total access to an immense ocean of all experiences. Could one learn to navigate such a boundless sea without becoming lost in the sheer scale of possibilities? This framework also redefines destiny, shifting it from a predetermined route to a dynamic and fluid fabric of interconnected realities, all shaped by choice. A being capable of observing every version of itself and understanding how each choice shapes its existence would gain a profoundly intimate comprehension of others. Your capacity for empathy is greatly enhanced when you can perceive the way every decision another person makes alters their life and their unique timeline. But what of life's more difficult passages? If such a being could witness everything simultaneously, how would it navigate its own challenges? With a far broader perspective, perhaps problems would seem less menacing, and the struggles of life might feel far less overwhelming. So, what becomes of suffering in this context? If this being could perceive all its potential futures, would it experience pain in the same manner you do? Or would the awareness of every possible outcome instill a profound peace? Born from the knowledge that each hardship is merely a single thread in the magnificent tapestry of existence. The fifth dimension compels you to re-examine not just time but the fundamental nature of your experiences and choices. challenging you to envision a reality where every moment is interconnected, and every decision reverberates through the very fabric of time. When you can see the results of different decisions, every difficulty transforms into an opportunity for growth, a lesson embedded in the vast journey of being. Reflecting on what it means to experience time in this way brings us to a crucial question. Can you apply any of this understanding to your own life? While you cannot see time all at once, you can learn to recognize the branching possibilities along your own path. This means accepting that every choice leads to a different outcome, and that, while you cannot alter the past, you always have the power to influence the future. This mental journey into the fifth dimension presents a new way of thinking about your existence, inviting you to view life not as a linear sequence of events, but as an expansive landscape of possibilities. Every day brings a fresh opportunity to choose, to experience, and to fashion your own realities. Ultimately, the idea of existing in the fifth dimension challenges you to contemplate the nature of time and your interaction with it. If you could see your life as a complete whole, how might it alter your behavior? The key may be to remember that, despite the limitations of your perception, there is always room for exploration and creation within the immense universe of possibilities that surrounds you. Now, in a corner of this vast cosmos where your decisions have the power to create branches in reality, we find the captivating idea of the sixth dimension. What if every single choice you make, from the most trivial to the most significant, carves out an entirely new path in existence? Imagine a great tree whose branches extend into infinity, where each leaf symbolizes a decision, and each limb represents an alternate life. This is the very essence of the sixth dimension, an immense field of potential where every choice you make gives rise to a new universe. Your daily decisions might seem inconsequential, but what if each one opens a gateway to another world? Think about a pivotal moment in your own life, perhaps a choice between two careers or a decision on a life partner. In the sixth dimension, every one of these moments serves as a branching point, initiating a completely new line of existence. Can you begin to imagine the countless versions of yourself that might populate this enormous tree of realities? The concept of multiple realities compels you to ponder the very nature of your own existence. If every decision creates a new branch, what if those times you feel you've missed an opportunity? In the sixth dimension, that chance doesn't simply vanish, it just unfolds along a different timeline, creating a new reality where you chose the other path. This idea can be both astonishing and profoundly liberating, suggesting your life is not one story, but a single narrative coexisting with countless others. What would the world appear to be if you could witness all these stories at the same time? The notion of a decision tree also brings up profound questions about free will. Are you genuinely the master of your own destiny, or are your choices simply predetermined by a series of prior circumstances? In the sixth dimension, free will is both a blessing and a heavy responsibility, as each choice you make has the power to bring entire new worlds into being. Are you prepared to accept such immense responsibility for your decisions? As you explore this idea, you can't help but wonder about the emotional toll of realizing there are other versions of yourself who have gone down different roads. What would it be like to encounter a version of you who made radically different choices? Perhaps that alternate self is living the life you've always dreamed of, or maybe they are confronting challenges you could never have imagined. The sixth dimension invites you to reflect on the immense diversity of experiences that all exist at the same time. Furthermore, this idea of a decision tree
deeply connects with the human drive for narrative. The stories you tell and consume, in books, films, or your own life, frequently center on choices and their consequences. What if you could tell not just one story, but all the stories that spring from your decisions? The narrative then becomes a reflection of the complexity of existence, where every character could be a manifestation of one of your own choices. And as you delve deeper, another fascinating question emerges. Are these alternate realities connected in any way?
Perhaps in the sixth dimension, there are invisible threads that weave your various experiences together. In this view, decisions don't just create new branches. They might also influence other paths, suggesting your lives are more intertwined than you believe, even across separate realities. Modern physics, with its exploration of extra dimensions and multiverse theories, the hypothetical collection of all possible universes, provides a framework for contemplating these ideas. While you are still unraveling the mysteries of the universe, the notion that every decision generates new realities offers a way to comprehend the sheer complexity of existence. What if dimensions are more than just mathematical constructs, and a place exists where every possibility converges? The sixth dimension compels us to rethink our relationship with time, which we normally perceive as a linear progression. But imagine if every choice you make also reshapes your experience of time, allowing the past, present, and future to coexist in a single, unified moment. Consider the notion that each of your decisions opens a portal to different moments within your life. Contemplating this idea brings an unavoidable sense of both wonder and humility. The thought that our choices could reverberate across multiple realities urges us to be more deliberate in our actions, as even the smallest gesture might have an impact on a universe we are only starting to understand. This raises a profound question. Are you prepared to embrace the responsibility that comes with this knowledge? In exploring the sixth dimension, we may discover a deep sense of connection and unity within the diversity of our experiences. Despite all the branching paths our lives may take, we are all woven into a vast, interconnected tapestry, a perspective that offers both comfort and hope by reminding us that every choice contributes to the rich fabric of existence. What awaits you in the future along this tree of decisions? The answer may already be in your hands, waiting to be found. Now, let's turn to quantum mechanics, a fascinating and often bewildering world. You have likely heard of wave-particle duality, the concept that light can exhibit properties of both a wave and a particle, which is just one of the many marvels this field presents. So, what does this mean for your understanding of reality? Picture reality not as something fixed, but as a kaleidoscope where every turn generates a new pattern, a new potential. Quantum mechanics challenges our assumption of a predictable world. At the smallest scales, particles behave in ways we don't expect. They can exist in multiple places simultaneously, and their state is determined by how we observe them, leading one to ask, does anything truly exist until you look at it? The idea that observation directly affects reality can be difficult to accept, but it remains a fundamental principle in quantum mechanics. Consider the famous thought experiment known as Schrödinger's cat, which can be simultaneously alive and dead until someone opens the box to check. This paradox perfectly illustrates the strange rules of the quantum world, forcing us to confront how something can exist in two contradictory states at once. The answers are anything but simple, yet they invite us to question the very fabric of our existence. Furthermore, quantum particles are capable of becoming entangled.
This phenomenon links two particles in such a way that whatever happens to one instantaneously affects the other, regardless of the distance between them. This implies a universe connected by an invisible web, a concept as intriguing as it is perplexing. When delving into quantum mechanics, it is easy to assume it is purely abstract theory. In reality, however, this science has concrete applications, from the technologies powering your smartphone to the quantum computers poised to revolutionize data processing. The impact of these theories is woven into your daily life. Have you ever considered how something so strange can hold such practical significance in our world?
Superposition is another key concept in quantum mechanics, suggesting that a particle exists in all possible states at once until it is measured. Imagine a reality where possibilities are infinite, only becoming concrete the moment you decide to observe them. This principle implies that the universe is not as rigid as we believe, but is instead teeming with potentials waiting to be realized.
Quantum mechanics also prompts us to consider the existence of multiple realities. Is it possible that every time you make a decision, a new timeline is forged, exploring a different path? Reflect on all the choices you have made in your life. Each one could have given rise to an entirely different reality. This idea raises profound questions about free will and destiny. As we explore these concepts, it is vital to remember that quantum mechanics is not confined to what you can see or perceive. A vast universe of possibilities extends far beyond our comprehension, and these theories suggest there is much more at play than we realize. This all brings us to one simple question. What is reality? Is it a collection of fixed laws, or a dynamic landscape of possibilities unfolding before you? Quantum mechanics provides a new lens that challenges your perceptions and invites you to look past the obvious. Ultimately, it does more than transform our understanding of physics. It encourages a deep reflection on our own existence. It raises questions about your connection to the cosmos and how your actions might influence the reality you experience, making you wonder if, in some sense, you are a co-creator of your own reality. The search for answers to these questions sends us on a continuous journey of discovery. Quantum mechanics reminds us that curiosity is the engine that drives knowledge. As we explore and question, we uncover new layers of the reality that surrounds us. It is a path filled with surprises and revelations that urge us to keep moving forward. There is no question that we are only taking our first steps in understanding quantum mechanics and its implications. Each new discovery opens the door to new questions and new possibilities. So the next time you gaze at the starry sky or get lost in a moment of reflection, remember that you are part of a cosmos full of wonders, where reality is stranger than you could ever imagine. Quantum mechanics invites us to dream, to question, and to explore these unknown depths. So, how about diving into this mystery together? The solutions to these cosmic questions might be far more incredible than we have ever dared to imagine. Within the immense complexity of the universe, there is a notion that stirs a profound and endless curiosity: the seventh dimension. But what is the true meaning behind this concept? Picture for a moment that every choice you make generates a new timeline, a completely different narrative. In the seventh dimension, each of these narratives branches out like a limb on a tree, which itself expands and divides in countless directions, where every decision gives birth to an entirely new universe. Each of these branches symbolizes a version of you that might have been. A person who simply took a different turn. What if I were to tell you that within this seventh dimension, every single possibility your life holds is brought
to fruition. Recall those instances where you hesitated, wondering what might have happened if you had chosen differently. On this plane of existence, there is no cause for regret, as every one of your choices blossoms into a parallel reality where you, like a character in a new story, live out the consequences of what could have been. The idea of a multiverse, a framework where endless versions of reality exist side by side, is more than a mere fantasy from science fiction. The seventh dimension proposes that there are universes which, while remaining distinct, are intricately intertwined, each governed by its own set of laws and conditions. Can you envision a reality where your most ambitious dreams have been realized? Or a universe where a different career path was chosen, or a failed relationship flourished into something wonderful? Ponder for a moment how you would feel if you could meet these alternate versions of yourself.
Now, let's explore how this concept connects to our daily lives. In the three-dimensional world we inhabit, we constantly make choices that appear straightforward, yet everyone holds the power to alter the entire trajectory of our existence. Imagine if you could visualize all these potential outcomes spreading out before you like an infinite map of possibilities. This is precisely where the seventh dimension enters the picture, serving as a convergence point where all these branching decisions meet and coexist, weaving a magnificent tapestry of realities. It is truly astounding to consider that, somewhere in the expanse of this vast multiverse, a version of you exists who has made every conceivable choice and followed every path you ever could have taken. Have you ever sensed a deeper significance behind the decisions you make? In the seventh dimension, this feeling of destiny could have a genuine basis, suggesting that each choice is not merely a step in your life, but a thread that combines with millions of others to form a grand cosmic design. Exploring the seventh dimension brings up some fascinating questions about how this would alter our understanding of reality. If every decision spawns its own version of us, does it imply our lives are fated, or are we ultimately the creators of our own destinies? This concept directly challenges the notion of free will, prompting us to reflect deeply on the part we play in writing our own stories. Consider for a moment that you had the ability to access these parallel universes. In moments of uncertainty, what guidance would you offer yourself? Would you embrace that other self and offer thanks for the choices made? Or would you perhaps push for a different course of action? The seventh dimension doesn't just reveal what might have been. It presents an opportunity to gain wisdom from these alternative timelines. The mechanics of this multiverse, this theoretical collection of every possible universe, extend beyond philosophical debate and into the realm of physics. Some scientists propose that the presence of additional dimensions may be the essential element needed to comprehend phenomena that currently elude us. It's possible that the seventh dimension, with its incredible diversity of outcomes, holds the solution to unraveling mysteries like gravity, dark energy, the theoretical force driving the universe's accelerating expansion, and other cosmic puzzles. As we delve further into this idea, an even more captivating question emerges. What if we could actually access these other universes? Could we draw upon the experiences from these parallel worlds and apply that insight to our current lives? The seventh dimension encourages us to consider that learning isn't limited to our own personal history, but can stretch across the very fabric of time and space, fundamentally transforming how we live and enriching us intellectually. What if we could arrive at more enlightened decisions by drawing upon the wisdom accumulated by our alternate selves? The seventh dimension, with its boundless network of possibilities, reveals a spectrum of opportunities so vast it's almost difficult to comprehend. This journey forces us to question the very nature of our existence and the true weight of our choices. If every road not taken is still traveled in another reality, what is the ultimate value of the decisions we make here and now? Are they just footprints in a boundless ocean of potential? Or are they the definitive actions that shape who we truly are? Ultimately, the seventh dimension is far more than an abstract theory. It is a powerful invitation to contemplate our own lives and the choices that define them. It serves as a reminder that our existence is a complex web of intertwined paths that have brought us to our present moment. By being open to the existence of multiple realities, we can discover a new lens through which to view our own experiences, one that empowers us and inspires greater mindfulness in our daily decisions. Who can say how many versions of ourselves are out there, waiting in the vastness of the multiverse? In one small corner of this sprawling universe, a fascinating concept exists that beckons us to pause and reflect on our own being. What if our gaze upon the starry night sky reveals not just what we know, but a boundless ocean of possibilities? In what is known as the eighth dimension, every single star could signify the birth of a new universe, a unique starting point for a story that unfolds in ways we cannot possibly fathom. But how could all of these realities exist simultaneously? And what would that mean for us? Imagine a library with an infinite number of books. Each volume on these shelves doesn't merely contain a narrative. It embodies a unique version of a universe, a self-contained reality. When you open any of these books, you are transported into an alternate world. One where the choices made and their consequences might be entirely different from our own. In this dimension, every single decision and event creates a new offshoot, a fresh pathway that splinters into an endless array of directions. Just try to imagine leafing through these volumes, witnessing the distinct stories that play out in each of these separate realities. Let's now explore the full implication of a dimension where absolutely everything is possible. What if each time you make a choice, you are not just selecting a single path, but are simultaneously bringing new realities into existence? For instance, your decision to get out of bed today didn't just kickstart your workday. It also gave rise to a universe where you chose to stay home, or perhaps one where you embarked on a journey to a far-off destination. Every one of these alternatives adds another new book to this boundless library. The question that naturally follows is how we might form a connection with these other realities. Consider the possibility that every time you dream, you are granted access to one of the books in this library. Within that dream, you could explore a world with different physical laws, a place where taking flight is as simple as taking a step. What does this suggest about our own understanding of what is real? Is reality confined to what our senses perceive, or is it a far more intricate framework where every potential has its own place? Many theories suggest that dreams are simply mirrors of our experiences and desires. But what if they are also portals to other dimensions? In the same way a book can carry you to a new world, your dreams could be the vehicle for exploring the countless realities that exist just beyond the edge of your conscious awareness. Upon waking, you return to your everyday life, yet the impressions of these other worlds may linger with you, like faint whispers of what might have been. If we were to delve more deeply into this notion, what kind of instruments would we require to navigate this infinite library and explore its books? Your imagination could very well be the master key. By picturing a different future or visualizing an alternative course of action, you begin to sketch the outline of a new volume in this library. Every thought and every desire has the potential to become the first chapter of a new reality, turning the eighth dimension into a realm of limitless possibilities,
where each choice marks a new beginning. But how does this concept affect our daily existence? If every choice you make has the power to generate an entirely new universe, does that make you responsible for the realities you usher into being? This line of thought urges you to contemplate the true impact of your actions, not merely on your own life, but on the very structure of the cosmos. In this light, the eighth dimension ceases to be just an abstract theory and becomes a powerful reminder of the significance of your choices. Each day offers you the chance to write a new narrative, to add another book to your personal library. The true wonder of existence is found in your capacity to dream and to act, making decisions that influence not just yourself, but all those around you. This raises a new set of questions. Can you truly grasp the power you hold? Are you able to see beyond the reality you currently inhabit and catch a glimpse of the other dimensions that await? Curiosity might be the very light that guides you on this exploration. By opening your mind and heart to the existence of other realities, you start to broaden your comprehension of the universe. Picture a world where the divisions between these realities fade away, a place where every choice is honored as a fresh act of creation, and every individual can alter the direction of their own story. This is the very invitation that the eighth dimension presents to you: to seek, to learn, and to build. In doing so, you forge a connection not only with your inner self, but with the immense and intricate tapestry of the cosmos. Ultimately, the eighth dimension reveals that you are far more than a simple observer. You are the architect of your own reality. So, the next time you gaze upon the night sky, consider that every star could be a story yet to be written, a universe waiting to be discovered. What kind of story will you author today? Every decision you make is another page in your personal volume, and perhaps in the infinite library of existence itself. Within the vast structure of reality, an even more mind-bending concept emerges in the ninth dimension, where the fundamental laws of physics themselves can be altered. To grasp what this really means, imagine you are participating in a card game with clearly established rules that every player understands. But what if, halfway through the game, someone could abruptly change those rules? The entire dynamic would be completely transformed. This is a way to conceptualize the ninth dimension, a realm where the laws you know and trust lose their meaning. In this dimension, gravity, light, and time, everything you consider to be constant, could become something entirely new. Can you envision a world where gravity doesn't pull objects toward the Earth's core, but instead whimsically pushes some things upward? In such a scenario, you might find yourself floating, in complete defiance of everything you've ever been taught. The ninth dimension challenges you to fundamentally reconsider everything you believe about our universe and its workings. Now, let's examine the link between time and our decisions. In our reality, every choice appears to be locked into a linear sequence of events. In the ninth dimension, however, time could operate non-linearly, allowing decisions to exist simultaneously in the same moment. What would happen if, when faced with two different paths, you could actually experience both of them at the same time? The ninth dimension proposes that each choice you make could create a new branch of reality that develops in parallel with your own. What would it be like to exist in a world where the rules are constantly in flux, where time can be bent, and where your choices multiply infinitely? Think of an artist who, rather than having to choose a single color for their canvas, could perceive all colors simultaneously,
and instantly decide which one to apply. This capacity to select from countless possibilities at once would be an incredible gift. Yet the sheer confusion of having so many options available could also be paralyzing. As you explore this dimension, a host of fascinating questions begins to surface. Can you imagine beings residing in this ninth dimension, perceiving time not as a linear progression, but as an entire web of possibilities? It's conceivable that these entities could communicate in ways that are entirely beyond our three-dimensional comprehension. Consider what a discussion might entail if every participant could simultaneously access all potential choices and their resulting consequences, making every conversation a multifaceted exploration of countless realities. This concept of the ninth dimension forces us to reconsider our own existence. If the fundamental rules of the universe can be altered, then who are you, really, within this immense cosmos? While we see ourselves as individuals making choices in a forward-moving timeline, what if our very essence could flow more like a river carving its own channel, rather than being locked into a predefined course? In this way, the ninth dimension invites you to question not just the universe's nature, but your own identity. The implications of living in a reality with malleable rules are truly profound, affecting your relationships, aspirations, and dreams. If possibilities are indeed infinite, does our reality become a blank canvas upon which each of us can paint our unique story? In this context, the ninth dimension serves as a mirror, reflecting back our deepest hopes and our most profound fears, revealing new ways to understand the very notion of destiny. In our reality, it is easy to feel confined to a predetermined path. But what if, within the ninth dimension, destiny is not a single, unalterable line, but an expansive map of interconnected routes? Perhaps every decision you make not only influences your immediate future, but also reconfigures the very fabric of reality itself. This naturally leads to profound questions about determinism versus free will, challenging you to reconsider your beliefs about control and chance. If the rules can indeed shift, does this mean your decisions carry a different weight, allowing you to influence reality in ways you have never imagined? The ninth dimension also prompts us to think about creativity in a new light. If boundaries blur and rules become fluid, then every creative act evolves into the birthing of new realities. An artist, a writer, or an inventor could see their work as an exploration of a universe where any idea has the potential to manifest in its purest form. Surely the ultimate dream for any creator. The possibility of altering the rules of reality also encourages you to reflect on how you relate to the world. Instead of seeing life as a chess game with predictable moves, you might begin to understand it as an improvised dance, where every step creates fresh possibilities. This idea of flexibility is both exhilarating and daunting. As you immerse yourself in the concept of the ninth dimension, you realize that curiosity is your greatest ally, turning the exploration of the unknown into a journey of self-discovery. In this sense, the ninth dimension is not merely an abstract concept, but an open invitation to expand your perception and challenge your limits. By exploring this dimension, you begin to grasp that our reality is not a set of fixed rules, but a constantly evolving landscape, brimming with possibilities and opportunities. The true magic of the ninth dimension lies in its ability to inspire, to question, and above all, to liberate your imagination. The film Tenet became a cultural phenomenon, captivating millions with its complex narrative and ideas that challenge our understanding of time. But how does Tenet connect to the dimensions we are exploring? And what can it teach us about the nature of causality? In the world of Tenet,
time does not flow linearly as we experience it. Instead, it is depicted as a river that can be navigated in both directions. This raises fundamental questions about what cause and effect truly mean. Imagine being like a fish in a pond, confined to swimming in one direction along time's flow. Yet in this cinematic universe, there are characters who can invert their own entropy, effectively traveling backward through time. This concept directly confronts our understanding of causality. If you can move into the past, can you change it? Or is the past as unchangeable as we believe? This dilemma forms the central thread of Tenet, where characters' actions have consequences that intertwine in the most unexpected ways, echoing into both the future and the past.
One of the most fascinating concepts presented in the film is the idea that time itself is a resource, something that can be used, stored, and even squandered. In a world where time can be manipulated, the value of your actions and decisions is completely transformed. What would happen if you had the ability to reclaim lost moments? Would you become more reckless, or would you be more cautious, knowing your choices could alter the entire course of history?
As the characters of Tenet dive into this altered reality, they are forced to confront profound moral and ethical dilemmas. The film compels you to ask questions about your own life. If you had the chance to go back and correct your mistakes, would you take it? Or would you accept that every choice and every step you have taken is an inseparable part of who you are? In this dance between free will and determinism, you are faced with the ultimate question. Are you truly the architect of your own destiny? The use of time inversion in Tenet is more than just a visual gimmick. It is a narrative device for exploring the complexities of time. In a sense, it invites you to think of time not as a straight line, but as a vast landscape filled with branches and possibilities. It echoes the concept of a decision tree, where every choice creates a new path. In this universe, every action can lead to alternative realities, turning the film into a metaphor for the quantum-like paradoxes you encounter in life. Have you ever noticed how our decisions can lead to outcomes we never anticipated? The intricate nature of time in the film Tenet reflects the complexity of our own existence, where a single action can set off a cascade of unforeseen events. As you immerse yourself in the plot, it becomes clear that time isn't merely a resource to be managed. It is a true form of power. And those characters who can manipulate it gain a decisive edge in a dangerous game of conspiracy. This central idea raises a profound question for all of us. What would you do if you possessed the ability to bend time to your will? Would you use such power for selfless acts, or would it amplify your own selfish desires? The narrative journey of Tenet also forces a re-examination of reality itself, making you wonder what it even means to exist in the present moment if time can be reversed. We often feel trapped in a loop of choices that seem to generate predictable results. But the film challenges this notion by suggesting an underlying unpredictability to our lives. It proposes that the divisions between what has happened, what is happening, and what will happen are far more fluid than we commonly believe. While the action sequences in Tenet are visually spectacular, their true power lies in how they manipulate our sense of perception. When you see characters navigating time in reverse, they are compelled to rethink their entire grasp on reality. This concept mirrors the philosophical idea that how we perceive time and events ultimately defines our position within space and history. Tenet transcends the action genre to become a deep exploration of our relationship with time, inviting you to contemplate your own life and the decisions that shape it. Are you genuinely living in the now? Or are you simply repeating the same behavioral patterns without realizing it? The film dares you to challenge your own perceptions and consider the possibility that there is more to the world than what is immediately apparent. In the end, Tenet provides more questions than answers, leaving you to ponder the various dimensions of time and their influence on our daily lives. It serves as a powerful reminder that even if you feel confined to a single predetermined path, the potential to explore new directions always exists. The film encourages you to stay curious, to question what you think you know, and to embrace the staggering complexity of our universe. By reflecting on the ideas presented in Tenet, you can discover striking parallels in your own life, recognizing that your experience of time and decision-making is as intricate as the film's narrative.
Within the expansive realm of theoretical physics, there's a fascinating concept known as the 10th dimension. To grasp what this means, let's start with a simple analogy of a piece of paper where a single point can represent an event. In the first dimension, movement is restricted to a straight line, while the second dimension opens up a plane with length and width. The third dimension introduces depth, allowing for interaction with the world as we know it.
But things get more interesting as we move beyond our familiar dimensions. In the fourth, time itself is treated as another direction you can travel. And in the fifth, possibilities begin to branch out, creating alternate realities with every choice you make. The 10th dimension, however, elevates this concept to an almost unimaginable scale, representing an infinite ocean, where every conceivable reality exists and manifests simultaneously. Imagine you're standing in a boundless library, where each book contains a different story, an alternate timeline that could have been. In the 10th dimension, you are not limited to just reading these stories. You gain the ability to write your own. Consider the power to bring new realities into existence purely from your thoughts and intentions, a concept that prompts you to reflect on your own role in shaping your existence. This framework raises critical questions. What does it truly mean to be a creator of reality? And how does your perception mold the very fabric of these dimensions? Here, time is no longer linear. Everything you have ever experienced and everything that is yet to happen coexists in an intricate web. Your life is not a sequence of events, but a complete tapestry, where every choice is a thread that contributes to the final design. Think about your dreams, where you often encounter scenarios that defy all logic. What if I told you that in this vast multiverse, every dream could be a portal to another version of yourself? Each time you dream, you might be exploring one of the countless possibilities that flourish within the 10th dimension, offering a glimpse into an alternate reality you are creating in that very moment. As we delve into this idea, we must confront the question of determinism. If every possibility is already realized, do your choices still hold any meaning? Or, on the contrary, are your decisions the very energy that forges the reality you inhabit? In the 10th dimension, every action sends ripples across the universe, continuously generating new timelines in real time. Contemplating the creation of these realities, it's compelling to think about how your beliefs influence what you perceive as real. Could it be that you are, in a fundamental sense, the architect of your own destiny? The 10th dimension invites you to claim responsibility for your choices and to acknowledge the immense power you hold, shifting your role from a passive spectator to an active participant in the creation of your world. As we explore this further, a final question emerges. Is there a greater consciousness behind all this creation? Or are you venturing through this incredible journey entirely on your own? Within the 10th dimension, the distinction between the creator and the created might dissolve, hinting that we are all elements of a grander design, with our own specific parts to play. Consider a being that exists entirely in this realm. It wouldn't merely observe the world, but would feel, live, and actively shape it. What lessons could an entity like this offer us regarding the fundamental nature of existence? Perhaps the 10th dimension isn't just a domain of boundless possibilities, but also a reflection of our own untapped potential and current limitations. As you contemplate these notions, it's vital to recognize that grasping this concept is a deeply personal endeavor. Each one of us has the chance to delve into these ideas and assign them a meaning that is uniquely our own. Your curiosity is the very instrument that opens the way to investigating the unknown, and every query you pose can be another stride toward a more profound comprehension of reality. Ultimately, in pondering the 10th dimension, you are met with a thrilling labyrinth of potential outcomes. Every choice, every idea, and every feeling is intricately woven into an endless web of different realities. This confrontation brings us to the ultimate question. Which version of reality will you decide to manifest today? The invitation is open for you to accept. Delving into the 10th dimension is more than a cosmic voyage. It is a profound quest to understand who we are and our significance within the immense tapestry of existence. What if I were to tell you that in this dimension, every thought, wish, and decision you make could spawn an entirely new reality? This idea certainly challenges our conventional understanding of the universe, but it is precisely within this concept that the true wonder begins to unfold. It presents a fascinating landscape where we are not just spectators of reality, but its architects. Picture an artist standing before a blank canvas, one who can paint not just a single masterpiece, but an infinite number of variations, each with distinct shades and details based on every flick of the brush. In the 10th dimension, you have your own canvas, and each choice you make is a brushstroke that gives life to a new version of reality. What could this imply for us, living in a world where our options often feel constrained? As we explore the idea of a 10th dimensional being, we encounter the notion that reality is not a straight line, but an expansive ocean of possibilities. Imagine you are navigating this ocean, where every wave signifies a choice, and every current guides you to a different fate. This being doesn't merely ride the waves, it has the power to generate entirely new ones, shaping the very currents of existence. Have you ever contemplated how a minor alteration in your life could have resulted in a completely different future? In the 10th dimension, these alternative timelines don't just exist in theory, they coexist in parallel. Every decision you make forges a universe unto itself, and each of these universes can be as tangible and real as the one you currently inhabit. For instance, think about a person choosing one career path over another. In this higher dimension, that individual could be living out the unchosen life simultaneously, experiencing all the realities they dared to explore. This concept suggests that our dreams, hopes, and aspirations are like seeds that can germinate in different realities, meaning every unfulfilled wish might just be an untraveled road in an alternate universe. This thought can be quite comforting. Imagine that every time you feel you aren't reaching your full potential, another version of you in another existence is precisely the person you've always aspired to be. The principle of creating reality also brings up compelling questions about the influence of our thoughts. If our intentions can give birth to new realities,
What does that say about the role our beliefs play in constructing our world?
It is easy to feel stuck in the patterns of daily life, as if our journey is already mapped out for us. Yet, the 10th dimension calls on us to challenge this view. What if each moment presented a fresh chance to create something new? What if, instead of perceiving barriers, you began to recognize boundless opportunities all around you? Creating reality also means that every single person has a crucial role in the vast, interconnected story of existence. You, with your unique thoughts and choices, are actively contributing to the overarching narrative of the cosmos. Every action you take, regardless of its scale, adds another thread to the intricate fabric of being. However, the idea of creation in the 10th dimension comes with a significant responsibility. If you possess the ability to shape realities, you must also think about how your choices impact others. This leads to a deeper contemplation on the profound interconnectedness of all life, urging us to choose realities that are beneficial not just for ourselves, but for everyone around us. As you advance in this exploration, it becomes evident that creating reality is a journey that is both individual and communal. Each of us, by choosing to live authentically and to pursue our dreams, adds to a more vibrant and dynamic universe. Life, in this sense, transforms into a shared canvas where we can all leave our unique imprint. The question of what it means to truly create here grows more intricate. If anything is possible, the key may lie in the sincerity of the intention behind our actions. The 10th dimension serves as an invitation to approach life with a spirit of discovery and inquisitiveness. Each day, and in fact every single moment, presents a fresh canvas for creation. What kind of worlds do you wish to bring into existence? Consider your most profound desires and your most audacious dreams, and start to imagine how they might materialize within this immense universe of what could be. Ultimately, the act of shaping realities within the 10th dimension is a powerful reminder that you are the architect of your own experiences. You are not simply subject to the whims of destiny. You possess the capacity to sculpt your own life and, by extension, the very fabric of reality. So, the question becomes, what will be your creation today? The cosmos is waiting for you to make your mark upon the tapestry of being. The narrative we all seem to live by is governed by what appear to be unchangeable laws. From our earliest years, we're taught that every element has its designated position and function, and every cause has an effect. But what if I were to suggest that within the 10th dimension, these familiar rules simply vanish, revealing an entirely new landscape of existence? The concept of determinism, the belief that all events are already set in stone, melts away into something far more adaptable and thrilling. Here, in this expansive realm of potential, every decision you make does more than just influence your own life. It causes a split in the very structure of the universe, opening up a new path and an alternate reality. In the 10th dimension, determinism is no longer a set of shackles binding you to a single fate. Instead, it transforms into an open canvas, ready for you to paint with the colors of your experiences and aspirations. Think about what this implies. Whenever you make a choice, you aren't just affecting the immediate future, you are actively generating new realities that run parallel to your own. This idea might sound intricate, but it functions much like a decision tree, where every branch signifies a different choice, leading you down a distinct timeline. Consequently, in the 10th dimension, you are not merely traveling along a predetermined road, you are constructing an entire universe around each decision you make. What does this revised understanding mean for the way you lead your life? It suggests that every moment holds the opportunity to forge something entirely new, and that perceived obstacles can be re-envisioned as gateways to different outcomes. Moreover, manifesting reality in the 10th dimension is not just an individual endeavor, it is a collective one. By being true to ourselves and pursuing our dreams, each of us adds to a universe that is rich, vibrant, and constantly evolving, turning life into a shared artwork to which we can all contribute. The question of what it truly means to create in this dimension is a deep one. If anything is possible, and every thought has the potential to manifest, how can you differentiate between what you genuinely want and what is just a passing fancy? The solution may reside in the purpose that drives your actions. A heartfelt desire, when powered by passion and a clear sense of purpose, holds the power to transform into a concrete reality. As you explore this expanded universe of possibilities, you might ask whether anything is permissible, if every option gives rise to multiple realities, and whether this implies an absence of consequences. The answer is found in the understanding that while your freedom is vastly expanded, so too is your responsibility. In this framework, you are the designer of your own destiny, but you must also weigh the effects of your choices on the new worlds you bring into being.
Your perception of time would also undergo a radical shift in this dimension. While in our world, time appears to flow in a straight line, in the 10th dimension, it behaves more like a boundless ocean, where each wave symbolizes a choice and its resulting effects. From this perspective, the past, present, and future cease to be separate, instead becoming interconnected components of a single, unified whole that we are only beginning to comprehend.
This inevitably leads to a complex question. Are you genuinely free within this vast cosmos of possibilities? While you certainly have the power to choose, those choices are themselves shaped by your past experiences, your emotions, and the environment you inhabit. So, although determinism takes on a new form in the 10th dimension, freedom is not an absolute state. It becomes an intricate interplay between choice and circumstance, where every move you make is both an expression of your will and a reflection of your conditions. Imagine for a moment a being that could exist within this dimension. Such an entity wouldn't merely witness the realities it creates. It could actively interact with them, guide their evolution, and perhaps even rewrite its own past. In such a context, the very idea of a mistake is redefined. Instead of being a misstep, an error could be seen as a chance to investigate a new reality, an invitation to venture down a path you might never have otherwise considered.
The capacity to shape and generate realities on this scale provokes profound inquiries into the nature of existence itself. If you are the creator of your own universe, what role does consciousness play in this process? Is there some higher intelligence guiding your choices, or are you navigating this immense ocean of possibilities entirely on your own?
The quest for these answers may ultimately lead you to contemplate the very essence of your existence and the deep connection that links all beings. By looking at determinism from this fresh angle, you begin to see that your life is part of a series of interwoven narratives. Each of these stories is distinct, yet all are connected by unseen threads, making each of us a player in a grand, multi-dimensional epic. As we delve into these concepts, one final question naturally emerges. Is the notion of free will truly as free as we have always believed it to be? If your choices are shaped by your past, can you ever truly be the master of your own destiny? This age-old conflict between free will and determinism finds fertile new ground for exploration within the concept of the 10th dimension. This idea encourages you to embrace uncertainty, to view your life not as a pre-written script, but as a dynamic journey of possibilities, where every decision has significance, and every error serves as a lesson. The power to manifest new realities grants you the ability to redefine your own trajectory, shifting your mindset from one of limitation to one of opportunity. When you contemplate determinism from this perspective, you can appreciate the intricate beauty of existence. It reveals that you are part of a much larger system and that your choices are inextricably linked with those of everyone else, weaving a collective human story. Within this vast universe of potential, each of us has the capacity to contribute to this shared narrative, transforming our lives into a symphony of experiences and decisions. As you move forward, it's vital to remember that in this multidimensional exploration, you are both the creator and the explorer. Your quest for meaning and purpose serves as your guide, and with every choice you make, you actively weave the fabric of your own reality. The puzzle of existence is as ancient as humanity itself. Since the dawn of consciousness, we have gazed into the cosmos and asked, why are we here? What is the purpose of it all? This search for meaning leads to profound reflections on the nature of reality and the possibility that there is more than what our senses perceive. Imagine for a moment that each person is a single note in a grand symphony. If so, who is the composer?
Science has offered various theories to address these questions, but we ultimately confront mysteries we have yet to solve. Is our reality merely a product of our perception, or is there a greater truth that eludes us? Consider that what you perceive as real might only be a tiny glimpse into a vast and complex universe. Within this framework, the idea of determinism becomes truly fascinating, especially if its rules could be radically different in the 10th dimension.
Imagine a scenario where every decision you make creates a new branch of reality, where the future is not a fixed point, but an infinite spectrum of unfolding possibilities. The concept that you are, at every moment, creating your own existence is staggering. If your consciousness possesses the power to influence the universe, then you are an active and vital participant in a process of cosmic proportions. This raises an even deeper question. If a consciousness is behind everything, what is it? Some might call this force God, while others may refer to it as the universe itself, or an energy that connects all living things. What if this consciousness is simply the manifestation of all accumulated experiences throughout time and space, with each life adding to a collective understanding that transcends individuality? This search for answers compels you to reflect on the meaning of life itself, suggesting that perhaps its purpose lies in the journey of experiencing, learning, and evolving. It's astounding to consider that our most profound questions may not have final answers. But isn't it this very search that makes life so compelling? If we knew everything, would we still have the drive to explore, question, and grow? The existence of multiple realities suggests that you are not alone on this journey, as countless other versions of yourself may be exploring different paths in the vast multiverse. This idea can be both liberating and overwhelming, highlighting the profound weight of every choice you make. Ultimately, the question of existence invites you to look within yourself. This personal journey of exploring your own consciousness may be the most important one you ever undertake. Perhaps the goal is not to find definitive answers, but to embrace uncertainty and live each moment to the fullest. In the end, what truly matters is how you decide to live. You can be a mere spectator of your reality, or you can choose to be its active hero. The choice is yours, and reality awaits like a blank canvas, with the brush firmly in your hand. Have you ever considered that your life might be just a single narrative unfolding within the vast cosmic stage? This realization isn't an end point, but the very start of a profound new exploration. While delving into the mystery of existence can feel intimidating, it is simultaneously an incredibly thrilling endeavor. The search for truth is a perpetual journey, where each new discovery only gives rise to further questions, and every answer pushes our perspective toward a broader horizon. So let's continue navigating this ocean of possibilities, charting every corner, riding every wave, and meeting every challenge that comes our way. The universe is expansive, complex, and brimming with surprises. Even though we may never attain a full understanding of it, the adventure, the very act of trying, is one of the greatest gifts we can receive. It is our curiosity, imagination, and fundamental desire to understand that serve as the engines driving us onward in this unending quest. So, what awaits us in the times to come? Only the future holds that secret. Yet one thing is certain. As long as we continue to pose questions, to explore, and to dream, there will always be new horizons to discover. And perhaps, on that distant horizon, we will finally find the answers we have been seeking all along.